Hi everyone, welcome to this week's YouTube channel. And as I said, this week we'll be interviewing Jason Lotho of Fondare Finish Construction. We will be diving into opportunities and what the construction industry is like here in Sonoma County. Before we get into it, Jason, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Lotho, Fondare Finish Construction. I'm the founder, and thanks for having me.
Great. So Jason and I know each other from a networking group here in Santa Rosa. And I thought that I've always been interested in the construction business. I always hear that it's a good industry to get into. So that will lead to my first question, which is, how did you get into the construction industry?
You know, in high school and stuff, and even since I was a little kid, I was always interested in making things. But at one point, I wanted to be an architect, and I took several drafting classes throughout high school. And I was fortunate enough, my mom gave me an opportunity to intern for an architect. And after being there for a little bit, I realized this is not what I want to do. Wasn't a very visionary type of person. I can make anything, even by looking at photos. I just didn't have, the vision to create different things. So I said, well, what's the next best thing? And I enjoy being outdoors and working with my hands. And so I decided to go into building. And this was kind of after college. I ended up going to college and majoring in business and minoring in marketing. And I wanted to have that background. And then from there, once I finished with school, I got into the trades and basically started like an apprenticeship program where I learned, how to build for the past 20 something years.
Yeah. That was going to be my, I was trying to calculate when you were saying that, how long you've been in the industry for then.
Yeah, since 2001. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you did an apprenticeship. So then at what point would you say, did you become a business owner, or did you open Fondare Finish? Did you start it from the ground?
I started from the ground. It wasn't by choice. It definitely wasn't something, I'm a very loyal person, and I'd been working for a contractor, and I went on vacation and I came back to no job. And, this was just having a family and a young child to support and a spouse, it's a family to take care of. Like, I just was like, I don't ever want to be in this situation again. I want to be in charge of my own destiny. So from there, I just looked at it as an opportunity, and I said, you know what, I'm going to just go into business for myself. And because I had kicked it around, you get points where you're like, oh, do you want to do it? And then you get used to working for someone and, having a paycheck, but just having that control of someone deciding whether you can feed yourself. I was like, this has never happened again. So that's really how I started Fondare Finish, and with a lot of encouragement and help from a good friend of mine, Kelly of Humanity Home and Cabinetry, definitely encouraged me to go into business. And haven't there's days where you regret it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're in a really good place, and I'm glad I made that leap. And I don't think I would, everything happens for a reason. So that's kind of how I became a business owner.
And what year did you open?
2015. I was working most of 2015 as a handyman. I got my license, I think 3 days before the year ended.
Yeah. Wow.
Which was nice because I had passed the test and was waiting and you can only do a certain amount of work as a handyman and a certain amount projects have to be under a certain amount. So it was a
Mhm.
very nice feeling to be able to get that and then be able to actually go out and contract and start to really grow the business.
My YouTube channel called Developing Immigrants in Sonoma County, the whole idea behind it was to kind of be a resource to people, especially immigrants, as they're coming over into like the different industries. And whenever we meet at BNI, you always have your infomercials and just being educated on all the different types of industries. I'm sure you know of my background coming from home care and healthcare, and that's really all I know. And I feel like a lot of the people in my community, that's most of what we know. Or just picturing someone who's migrating here and moving here and kind of looking for employment opportunities in any industry really in Sonoma County. Can you think of some reasons why would they go with construction? Why would some advantages, I guess?
I think that's a great question. I'd say there's a lot of reasons right now, especially to get into not just the construction trade, but plumbing, welding, roofing, HVAC, because there's so many opportunities. I mean, right now we've got a depletion of labor force in the trades because the group of people 35 and under, a lot of them, they didn't go into the trades. So we have a shortage. And the knowledge, a lot of the people that taught me, they're retiring now. And so what you have is you've got people, that are really good in their 40s and they have their own businesses, but they're one-man shops. They're two-man shops. They're smaller companies. So there's, I'd say, for someone who has migrated here, and there's a lot of opportunity in construction right now for as my trades, for example. The pay is a lot better. When I started, it was $9 an hour 20 some years ago. Wow. And now, obviously with inflation and where things are at, like, people aren't starting, under $23 an hour. You're not going to get anyone like, but the thing that's great about the trades is it's going to, if you show up on time, if you can learn and you're a hard worker, like, the sky's the limit. If you have a good attitude and you want to learn and are clean, especially with your work, and you have a great attitude, you can go as far as you want. I mean, I had a guy that started with us at 25 an hour, and in 3 or 4 years he was making over 50. So it's not, at this point, it's like, if you're motivated, and I think this is true for any trade right now and any business, with the lack of a lot of effort on people's behalf, it seems to be that there's people that are doing well and there's people that are just switching jobs and switching industries. And part of it is not having like a passion for what they do. If you want a career, you can definitely have that. And if you want to open your own business, you can definitely do that. So it just seems like overall as a culture, just everyone, it just seems like a lot of industries are suffering because people don't want to really work and they don't have the initiative. So if you have initiative and you can learn and you want to put in the effort, you're basically in charge of your own destiny, and you can go as far as you want in any amount of time.
So I love numbers. So I was like doing my math. I was like 25 an hour, like how much is that? So when you say someone starts off, like you said, starting off at like 25 an hour, is that someone that has completed like an apprenticeship program and is like a certified? Or just
that's
coming
more
in?
Like, that is someone that has a little bit of skills, as far as like, hey, I can switch out a doorknob, I can change light bulbs. Like, they have a general idea of how to do basic stuff, demo. They can pull carpet, they can take a door off, they know how to use a screw gun, just basic stuff. You could that's really about the range where you're starting at. Yeah, these days.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's not bad. That's really good.
And you know, there's, you know, you have, for example, in our company, you know, we have medical, we have dental, we have vision, we have 401k. So you really have more, there's more and more companies are offering that too. So it's like your package ends up being more than that, you know, when you start out, which, like I said, there's people now in the trades that are making, when I was making $25 an hour, I could build a whole house from the ground up. So now it's, you know, it's inflation. And that's due to the fact that no one, you know, a lot of people work behind a desk, a lot of people got in the tech industry, you know, and I always use this term, no one wants to bleed and sweat anymore.
Yeah, no.
So there's definitely a labor shortage, and it just gets passed on, unfortunately, to the clients, you know, and people, like, you know, if they want to do work now, it's like, well, you know, this is what it costs, because we have to pay to keep these good people.
Right.
You know, it costs. If we're not competitive wages, they're going to go somewhere else.
Right. So I'm hearing a lot, you know, as we're going into like fall and winter season and weather, you know, it's going to be raining and stuff. So is it, when the seasons change and it rains a lot, is it hard for, like, say I'm someone who's entry level into construction, do my hours get cut a lot, or are they able to find like guaranteed full-time work for sure no matter the season?
Well, again, you know, it goes back to your effort. And good people that have positive attitudes, who show up on time, who want to learn, and who take initiative and are growing as people, you're never going to be off. And since we've been open, we've never had to lay anyone off. Since 2015, we've had, you know, up to 25 people in our company. We've never, you know, had to lay anyone off. Most of the people that have left, they've, you know, had opportunities elsewhere or whatever it was, but that's usually what it is. So it's not due to a lack of work. I mean, we're booked into next year, and I mean, we get probably 6-7 referrals for new projects every week.
Yeah, you guys are busy.
Yeah, so we're not finding that. I think there are contractors out there that are having that issue, but I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, marketing themselves, and just being, fortunately, we're blessed to have the right people and that we work with. And so, no, I would say, you know, in other trades, maybe like in concrete or excavation work, those are trades that are affected by winter. But as far as carpentry goes, no. If you're a carpenter, you know, there's inside work. Like, you know, like now already I've been preparing for rain, so this is what my weekly asks are for. It's for interior work. And it's because I'm getting ahead of that. It's not raining yet, but I know it's coming.
Right.
So I'm just putting that bug out there, and then that's the type of work that you go chase, is more interior work while it's raining.
Yeah. So would you say, like, for your business, most of you like work a 40-hour week, or usually do you have longer days sometimes, or like shorter days?
No, I mean, we've had projects where we've done 410s, like if they're far. If it's a further drive, we'll work that out where we can do 410s and the guys are off on Friday. Stuff like that. But for the most part, it's our business hours are 7:30 to 4. And then Monday through Friday. And occasionally, if we have to do, you know, overtime, we will, but it's very rare, because I like to plan everything out. I don't want to get to overtime or having to work a Saturday. That means that I wasn't prepared for something.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah. So I try to build a schedule to where everything's figured out way in advance before I even start a project.
Yeah. That's very nice. What are some of the challenges you face in the industry, would you say?
Um, I think the biggest challenge right now is just the building departments getting things through permits.
Mm,
Um, it seems that, and I'm hearing this from them too, like they're having a lot of overhaul, and people are retiring, but new people aren't coming in. And it seems like before there was a lot of building departments that used to do their planning, approval was all in-house, and now they're having to sub it out to private contractors because they don't have the staff to be able to do it. And a lot of this has happened since like all of COVID, and like a lot of places you can't go in, and take permits anymore. They have, planning review. A lot of them are working remotely. So that's been our biggest challenge. Materials and supplies, I'd say we were affected a little bit before, but now everything seems pretty readily available.
nice.
As far as the lead time. So that's, for us personally, that's the biggest issue is just getting, it seems like it takes months and months and months. Well, for like a bathroom remodel, for example. So that's been our biggest challenge.
What do you love about construction, and what keeps you enjoying it and doing it for this long?
So I actually went to a seminar, this is many years ago, and one of the things that one of my takeaways from it was, when you look at stuff, it's like anyone can build, right? A lot of people can make stuff, but there's also a lot of bad builders out there. And so for me, one of the things I realized was that if I looked at it like this, if I'm not doing this person can run into someone who can rip them off, who can do a crappy job. Their family could be injured. It could be their roof could collapse. So I kind of felt like, I got to do my part. And, it's like, you meet people and you give estimates, and I took this analogy where you've got someone, they're hanging off a cliff, and you're like, here, just grab my hand, I'll pull you up. Not everyone's going to pull your hand. Some people are going to, I'll try it. I'm like, here, just take my hand, I'll help you.
Right.
And that's kind of how I look at it. So I don't take it personal if someone wants to go, because we've had those clients too where they didn't hire us, and then they've called us to come back in after they started and had a bad experience with the contractor, and they're like, oh, and that's hard for them to make that call, to do it. But that's kind of like what keeps what keeps me going, because I know that if I don't help them, I know all the things that can go wrong. So that's one of my motivations, especially. I mean, you saw a lot of it with like a lot of the fire rebuilds. We took over a lot of projects from people that got ripped off. Contractors never even showed up, took their deposits. They didn't know the laws, the homeowners didn't, and they were screwed. They couldn't get their houses finished. So I've had to go in, we've gone in and helped, brought in subs and different people so we could help people complete their projects and get them into their homes. So that's the stuff that's kind of stuff that makes me feel good.
That's neat. Which I will have your website in the description so that all the viewers they'll be able to go in and see all your work, because it's pretty cool stuff. So someone no experience is curious about construction, wants to go into construction, entry level. What is the entry level pay rate looking like right now, as of today?
Someone who's got, let's just say they worked at a bakery or a restaurant, they're probably going to be around the $18 range or something, because it's a lot different, carrying a drink or some plates or dishes as opposed to carrying lumber. It's hard, especially when you're starting out as a laborer. Someone who's worked in let's say like an Ace or a hardware store or done landscaping or something like that, they've at least with the hard work, you know that they've got that in them.
Right.
And so you're looking 20 to 23, 24, somewhere in that range. Someone that has basic stuff where like, oh, I helped my dad was a carpenter, and I helped him build sheds, and I've done this, and they can use a saw and stuff like that. Now you're talking 24, 25, somewhere in that range. Yeah, if they have some sort of experience. The more experience you have, I mean, like I said, you can, we've got people making $50-$60 an hour. So.
And would you say like someone who's making 50-60 an hour is someone who entered the industry entry level and kind of just grew with the business and the company and just building experience without certifications, like any other certifications?
Yeah, in our unions, there's certifications, which when someone's a journeyman in the union, it's like they're specialized in one thing, for an example.
What is
when they're a journeyman? So like where they work at a school and all they do is put up sheets of plywood. That's it. Boom, 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 every single day. That doesn't mean that they're a journeyman in the union, but if they came to work for us, doesn't mean that they know how to frame. Doesn't mean they know how to do finish work. Doesn't mean they can set doors, windows. So there's kind of different levels of that. So I would say anyone who's making that type of money has definitely been in construction for a very long time. And they have the experience to, when you're making that type of money, you have to know everything. And so for me, when I say someone's a carpenter, that means that a carpenter can do minor electrical, minor plumbing, framing, drywall, windows, cabinetry, finishes, appliances. That's what Jesus was, a carpenter.
Right, so. Right. Yeah, really.
So it's a different level,
Yeah.
And then you have apprentice carpenters, and those are basically carpenters in training.
This is my last question. Are there any apprenticeship programs that you would recommend to be a carpenter? In the community, or
there's not a lot of stuff out there. I know, for example, with Letitia with the Lime Foundation, they have like an apprenticeship program. It's not specifically targeted on one trade. They get to learn about all the different trades, and they do different projects, like they'll do tiny houses and stuff like that. So they do get training like that. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of programs that I know. Even when I started in the trades, like, when your apprenticeship is going and working for someone. And so you get paired with a journeyman carpenter, and then he teaches you all the tricks and passes on his knowledge. And that's what I had. Like, I was very blessed to work for some really, really good high-end companies. And I mean, I started off digging holes for, first 2 years.
Yeah.
And I put in my time. Right. And I was like, then I learned how to do concrete. I learned how to, tie rebar and form and pour, and then you go to the framing and demo and all of that stuff. So I feel very blessed that not only do I have, and I think this is part of the reason it helps me as a contractor, is I've got the hands-on experience, but I also have the business background. Right. And so I've got that as well, because a lot of contractors are very good builders, but they're very bad business people. Yeah. And then you have the other side of the coin, where you have people that are good business people who don't know anything about the trades, and so they're dependent on someone else that they hire to tell them that this is correct.
Right.
So for me, I can come in and go, that's not right.
Right.
Like, a sub tells me, oh, I put this like this. No.
Yeah.
I know where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to go like that. So, it definitely took a lot of time, but I think, for the amount of time that it took me, like, I wouldn't have done it any other way. Like, I wouldn't have just gone to college and then went and worked for someone, because, in the field, I'm able to tell guys, I've done this.
Right.
I know how long it takes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't, people say, oh, we had to do this and we had to do
Mess
that. It's
around.
like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
done this.
Yeah.
I've been underneath houses. I've been in the attic. I know how long it takes. And
Yeah.
this is how long it takes. So I'm having that, I think it also garners some respect too, because you have those situations where there's owners that own a business, but they've actually never done the work. And it's when your guys walk by and if you're like, hey, this is how we want to do this, when they know that you can do it, they have, it's like, all right, we know he knows what he's talking about. So it's a little bit different than someone just pointing a finger.
Right.
Why didn't you do this? Because I've been there.
Right.
And I tell them, that roof that you're on, I've done that.
Yeah. 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 Really can't mess around with you because but I mean, that's great about you and your business and your background. I mean, ideal for your industry. Would you like to add anything else before we end?
Yes, we need more people in the trades.
Yes.
Electricians, plumbers, HVAC, painters, roofers, concrete. It's a really good time to join the industry. Like I said, when I started, it was very competitive, and it was hard. It was very hard. Now it's like you're on the fast track.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's people that I know that were journeymen a few years ago, and they have their license now. So really, it's a good opportunity if you are motivated, and you'll go as far as you want to go in this industry. And it's going to continue. I don't see everyone's like, oh, I think it's not going to change because there's so many people that don't want to get up early. I start my days. I was up at 3:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Off to the gym before I head down to be at the office at 6 o'clock. So a lot of people don't want to live that life.
Right.
But, if you have goals and you are someone that can, set marks that you want to do, construction is definitely any trade right now. You can definitely get in there, learn, and in 7-8 years have your own thing going.
Yeah. That's thank you for your time. We'll have your link down below. And do you have any questions for me?
Oh, I think I'm good.
Yeah,
thank you so much for your time and for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yes, and thank you for coming on. I will see you later this week.
All right, see you Thursday.
Thanks, Jason. Bye.
Bye-bye.